Welcome back to About Damn Time. This is episode 4 review of Netflix Griselda. Let's get into it. G's basically reminiscing about how she was, you know, bombarded with all these disloyal people. So all in her head, she just thinking about, how everything transpired. So she takes her family, and of course, she trying to revamp her mindset. So she takes her kids, and they go to stay with what they say is the cousins. Okay. So they get out and they greet Rigo. Rigo's there already waiting their arrival. He's gifted with a new pair of shoes, and he basically tells him to go in, get settled, and unpack, okay? So she goes in and makes a phone calls. She touches bases back with home, and she basically asks the ladies, how's it there? You guys cleaning up. Make sure y'all maintain what's going on, So the leader of the pack, she's the female. She reiterates to Griselda, take back what's yours. We come from a game where, we hit them in the nuts. And if it's ours, we get to take it back. So this kind of like her ammunition. And she seems like she's the conscience that pushes Griselda. Every time she's trying to doubt herself, then she always shakes her back and get her head back in the game. So she tells Griselda, you're the grand godmother. And that makes, her insides react in a good way. Her next call is to Drill. Drill's basically, she calls him to let her know, I'm home, we safe, we made it here safe, go with your move. So she signals Rigo, who's there with her at the time, and they basically are going to keep their head to the streets, and they're going to take care of the disloyal men. So Panesso is pulling up to a liquor store, and you see Drill and his guy basically eyeing him as he walks inside. And on another count, you see Rigo, he's going at Papa Mejio. Papa Mejio is there with his dad, I guess he walks off to go fix him something to drink. And that's when they both attack each individual. So Panesso is shot, killed, murdered right in the fines of a convenience store. Then you see the house of Papo is blown up to pieces. So she feels like this is ways that she can get back at them for being disloyal to her. She's going to take over her territory back. So Raphael, he's sitting at home with his old lady, and they back at the place, and they see that all the men, or the two leading men who's supposed to be holding down the Miami location, are being attacked. So that's when he already knows is that she's a headache. That's when he realized, yes, I should have been scared of her. Because remember, he told her, I can't control you because I don't trust you. You're more dangerous than they are, than the men that he can control. But because they kicked her out of the acquaintance, then now she's getting her revenge on everybody. So as you can see, they meet up with Raffo, and Raffo basically tells her, your plan to kill him didn't really work. Panesso was dead, which is your partner, but Papo, he actually survived. But it's Papo, his dad, he was actually one that was blown to shreds. So she has this distraught look on her face. So he basically comes and say, Raffo is like, I just want to come and just see how you look. He want to just rub it in. You ain't succeed as much as you did. But being that you felt, the best advice that you can get, that he would tell her, is basically just leave and watch your surroundings. So upon this, she signals Drill and say, my homegirl is back at the house. So by the time Drill gets there, he sees that it's burnt to pieces and they beheaded both of them. So so Papo got his revenge ASAP. They're not sparing her right now because they're really seeing how dangerous she is right now. So of course Gia's upset. So she's not really thinking properly. She got unhinged thinking. A mad person, they don't really think, they just react. So the Syntec group that June and Diaz is leading, because they leading the investigation to take down the rest of the cartel in Miami. So they see on the news basically that someone was beheaded. So they quick to get to the scene, of course, and they trying to link these murders together. And they trying to see, like she basically say, June is like, we're not moving fast enough. Every death just keep happening back to back to back. Well, G trying to get her revenge on these people who's been disloyal to her. So now the Syntec is now trying to close in on the case and trying to connect it to her. After Drill informs her that her best friends were basically beheaded and it was arson done to the house, of course she's devastated. It's pouring rain down. So of course she's feeling like, damn, this was my fault. I could have avoided this. See, that's why I say a mad person doesn't think when they're upset. She was so adamant to seek revenge on these men, she wasn't crossing her T's and dotting her I's and watch it over her other locations. So this caused her friends to risk their lives, and now they both beheaded on the front lawn. What do you know? Rivy calls G. So Rivy is in California. He was actually the one who escaped. When last episode, him and Almacar was running from the police after that they tied him to the murder. They was doing a shootout. So Revo ended up escaping and being safe. So now he in California, kind of like in a desert area right now. So basically, he tells G, you know, the sky is going to protect you. You know, the sky is for you. You're different. Something is telling me. I've been sitting here thinking, contemplating, but the mindset is going to you, baby, because you're the unknown person. So it's basically like a prep talk. So she tells him, you know, anytime you need me, call me, and, you know, I'm going to be there. So Rivy is one of the guys that works with Almacar in Miami. He still has some ties to G. You know, he has this little belief in him. So she calls and she gets this reaffirmed conversation to him. So now she's ready to go with her move down while she's in Miami. So Rico, he's the one guy who was greeted with Adidas when she first came to the place. Now Rico ended up being killed. He was beheaded also because they ended up catching him. His mom, Esperanza, she comes to meet with G in a pouring rain. And, you know, they having this exchange of conversation. And they both have sons. You know, she basically tells Griselda that her son has nothing to believe in until he started working for her. So she has a son that's already in Cuba, and her hope is when he gets home that he can come and work for G because she gives them something to work for. Remember, they looking at her in her hometown in Colombia. They're looking at Griselda while she's in Miami as the godmother. So they're giving it some type of hope that these guys have, and they look up to G. So G basically tells Esperanza that I'm going to avenge your son and his death. I'm going to behead them, do the same thing they did, and I'm going to pay you for your hard suffering. So she looks at her, and, you know, they have this heartfelt moment. And that's when Griselda is feeling responsible again. Not only did she lose her two best friends, but the guy who actually was going to protect her, she felt like it was her fault. So she came clean to the mom. You know, this was my fault that your son not here no more. But I guarantee you, I'm going to avenge his murder. That's when she gives Rivy the call, because he said, call me, you know, whenever you need me, call me. So she ended up calling him and say, look, I need you to find his whereabouts. I need you to find who he dealt with. So that's when she pulls up. We know she a gangster. She pulls up with Drio, and of course she has a concubine with him. They bust into his house, and, you know, they murder everyone in there. But before G goes in, there's a man standing in the windowsill, just standing there. Now, I don't know why she ain't going to take him out, because probably she already tired of the death of especially those who don't have no ties to her. So now she just focuses on her one mission. So that's when Drill gives her the machete. They use the machetes all through this episode. She takes the machete, put it to his neck, and he's just pleading, please, 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 you know. At first he started talking smart, but when she got the blade in his hand, it changed his language real quick. So instead of her using a machete, of course, she contemplated, I don't want to do this. So basically, she just takes the gun, pow, 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 in him right there on the spot. Then one of the guys going to take another piece of evidence, which is the necklace. See, now you're involving yourself too deep with the evidence. They got the man that you left, the windowsill witness, and then you leaving evidence that you taking his chain. So all this stuff will come back to you, G. You got to be mindful. After they did this, that's when the guy who snatched the chain, he actually gives it to Griselda. And in the middle of this is when we meet all the other Cubans who want to link together to help Griselda. So the group that she's going to link with from Cuba are called the Mariaditos. They are basically escapees from the regime that was in Cuba. When she was in the opening episode, she was getting her hair done. And on the news, they were showing all the Cubans actually escaping Castro communist leadership. So they want to be under him, so they escaped through Miami. And this is where they all meet up. And now they're finding ways, just like Esperanza told her, these men are now finding ways to have a purpose. So they come and they basically go into work for Griselda and help her get her shipment, her territory, everything in order. All of this is basically to get revenge from those who had been disloyal to her. Papa Mahia is basically sitting back watching how everything transpired. Now, this man just lost his dad that was blew to shreds at the house he was at. He made it out, but his dad didn't. He really has a reason to hate Griselda. This gives him more ammunition to keep his territory in Miami. But when you're so fidgety, you got to make sure you're thinking right. So you can't let your emotions take over. So I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to let his emotions take over. Just like G let her emotions take over when she lost her best friends, just trying to hurry up and do what she got to do. Griselda basically gives all the Marielitos a prep talk. They basically risk their lives coming here from to escape a regime that they wasn't comfortable with, to seek freedom, purpose, and a reason to live. So she basically gives them a prep talk. These people in America, they just look at you like you're someone who don't have a good language. You don't speak their language. They're trying to use you, find out how they can manipulate you. But she built them up with the belief that, you know, your family is going to be taken care of. You don't have to question my loyalty. You don't have to question anything. The strength is in the numbers, and everyone around here is strength. So long as you have strength and we're working from our hearts, then we were going to conquer. So she gives them a great prep talk to say, so everybody is riled up. So do her mission. So her mission is G versus the Ochayos versus Papa Mayo and all his dealers. So part of her plan is to go to the Bahamas, retrieve and burn all the Colombian candy. So they throwing torches all through the warehouse. All that warehouse, all the stuff from last episode, she's taking all that. The boatmen from the sea, she taking all their shipments. She getting her people, the Marielitos, to capture and retrieve all their products because they won't have no choice but to come back to her. If I take all your stuff and all your gold, you don't have no choice but to bow down to me. So initially her problem was to regain her territory back because she getting so hyped and so up in it, you know, she kind of going left field with it, and she want more and more power because they have all these men who are willing to do anything for her. And that's what Drill tells her. Drill tells you got all these men and they're willing to do anything for you. So you need to be careful. June seems to be the only one in the investigation with sense. Since day one, she's been adamant that the mystery narco is a female. So she expresses this to Diaz, Diaz is a man. He feel like, you know, you still on this mystery woman narco, so they just trying to, you know, dismantle her and her thoughts. But she's like, look, everything is connected. The people from this scene, they're saying they saw a woman. This man just saw a woman through the windowsill. He described her to be a woman. You know, the cigarette they had, lipstick on it. So her thing is, there is a woman involved in this. So June is pinpointing all the murders that was single, and there was a retaliation basically against her. She's trying to ask, who will go against the Ochayos? That's what Diaz says. But she's basically like, okay, if somebody from your crew been hurt, you're going to want to attack. So the Marielitos are actually in contact with the mystery narco. So June is actually putting everything together. And she just need her partner, Diaz, her new partner, just like the other guy. She just want him to believe in her. But okay, we're going to have to find some other way to get you to understand. All of this going down in the same day. So Griselda's older son, Uber, you know, he's sitting at home and he sees his mama walk in. You know, she has blood on her shoes. She got bloody shoes. So he drawing some type of suspicion because, you know, he's not a young kid. He's growing. He's seeing all these different guys come to the house. You know, Drill tells him, you know, your mother's just protecting you for your well-being. You know, you're not like her. You have a good heart, but you know you need to maintain that. But he's adamant to find out what's going on. So as she's, you know, in the mirror, you know, fixing herself up, that's what she tells him. You know, I guess she tells him this to make him not worry so much. She say, I'm pregnant. And don't tell Drill because he doesn't know it yet. So now we figuring out, okay, well, you doing all this, but you pregnant. Now I'm trying to see if she's using this tactic to manipulate him or is she actually really pregnant. Sick Tech finally does a follow-up to June. So Diaz says, you look, we're finna go to this location. They have this guy, he's intel. He has some intel on what's going on. We're going to call him the monkey, right? So they wait for him to just see what he going to say, if he going to say anything. They go to the bar, and of course, he not being as honest as he could be. So she say, let me dismiss myself from the conversation. All right, so she tells Diaz, just go tell him that I'm an idiot. I'm just a dumb woman and I don't know what I'm talking about. So this is all a game plan June is doing. So if you belittle me in front of the men, then the men gonna be able to tell you more information. She utilizing what she know about men at this time, because they don't believe, like, okay, you don't know everything you're talking about. So she said, you know what, he knows more than what he says. Just dismiss me and then go back to the table. He like, nah, I ain't finna do that. She said, trust me, go ahead and do that. As she looking over her shoulder, she get the affirmation. He comes back and tells June, okay, he just dropped Griselda Branco's name, and she's a part of this big conglomerate of people because they already said the mutiny. You know, they've seen her spotted with Almacar, they've seen her spotted with Rofa, and now they're trying to tie everything back to her, the mystery female narco. So everything she said wasn't too far-fetched, Diaz. Rafa's in Bahamas with his old lady, you know, taking shots at the table. Keep in mind, he is basically over the overhead of the Miami situation. So before anything get out of hand, he wants everything to stay stagnant, but it already got out of hand. So now he's saying, you know, I'm going to have to give my girlfriend, you know, he tells her, you know, I might have to use your people, those chayos, to take her down. But he don't really want to let them know that it's about a woman. So that's one of the things his girlfriend tell him. I'll call and let them know about it, but you got to let them know that, you know, you've been taken down by a female. So that's the last thing that he actually want to let them know. So everything is an ego thing, and that's why these men are failing, because they don't really want to believe and merge with her. See, everything, all this stuff could have been avoided if they didn't give her the backhand slap. But, you know, men speak power, so now it's power in numbers with Griselda. He basically offers G, say, look, you need to give me back what's mine, give me back my Colombian candy, stop all this BS, and let's keep everything a hush-hush. See, the leader in Miami right now is Papa Maheo. She tried to blow him up, but she ends up missing opportunity. So Papa Maheo is now in Colombia, and she basically tells G, before he comes back, you need to make sure you give me everything, because if he comes back and find out it's out of pocket, then everybody will be looking at him crazy, because he don't have no power over anything going down in Miami. But nah, she finna flip everything over. She seeks counsel with Arturo. Arturo's, you know, he's the accountant. And Drill, actually, you know, they gives her advice, saying, look, you're getting beside yourself. They offered you, you said you just wanted to have your territory, and you got that. Why you doing this extra stuff? You know, she basically said, give me the drugs and stuff, but she ended up burning all of the drugs. So when she sees him doing that, that's when he's like, okay, she's a loose cannon. Even though Drill told her, you need to be more careful because, you know, we have a baby on the way. And this we find out that he know that she's pregnant. Even after all the counsel, she still do what she want to do. So the deal is off the table. Once you burn the product, you can't give it back to Papo. You can't give it back to Raffo. So now all the money and all the time and all the product is off the table. The deal is off the table. But she don't care about none of that no more. She just want to seek vengeance, and she want Miami to be her territory, her territory alone. So now we at the airport scene. We see that Papo has landed back into Miami. And mind you, she had already burnt the product. So all the motion, all the movement, everything the dealer's supposed to rebrand and repackage, they can't do none of that. She done shot the drivers who make the transaction deals. She done killed the boaters. And on top of that, you know, she went to the warehouse and burnt all the product up. So now her minion is at the airport waiting because he sees Papa Maheo leaving the terminal. So he goes and follows him with a machete. He was gifted this machete by G. Basically say, look, go do what you got to do. He gonna be at the airport. Do your business. So that's when he does his business. And he does his business so adamantly and unthinkingly, he don't really care. He's at a public airport, and now he got multiple witnesses. He's captured. They got Maheo. I think they took him out. They kept saying attempted attack. They tried to behead him. So I know he lost a lot of blood. So I don't know if Papa Maheo is dead yet. I don't want to say he passed away. But from we know, he has been captured by the Syntax group, and he's being questioned. Look, drop the name, tell us all you know about Griselda, and we're going to get you a shorter sentence. We're going to talk to the DA and prosecutors to help you with your case. He loyal to a T. He's not going to go against her because he know he has something to work for, so he's going to protect her at all costs. That's when she don't get anything out of him. Neither does Diaz. So he's a case closed. Being that he didn't say nothing is good on Griselda's end because they already have extra encounters to tie her to murders, but they don't know for sure. So if she has someone from her crew, the Mariotitos, then that can actually take her down all the way. So being that he didn't say anything, she's trying to slow down this investigation unknowingly. In this last scene, we see Drill dropping off Griselda at the hotel, and you see that, you know, he's embracing her, and she gets out the car, and that's when Arturo is waiting. Arturo is the accountant. He has risked himself to be there in Miami, help her out, knowing that they had people looking for him. But he, you know, he came here and say, look, he's an accountant. I'm going to help you out, okay? So now they're going to this business meeting. And then when we walked in, we see it's Fabio. Fabio is one of the leaders of the Chayo tribe, and he is basically Ruffo's manager. He's his boss. Because when they walk in, they have their own little section on culture. So, you know, Griselda comes in and her and Arturo sits down for a meeting. And during this meeting, they talk about how ruthless she is, but he's saying it in a way that it's admirable. He admires how she is. She admires that she's not an easy cookie, but she's a tough cookie. You know, so she basically says, I didn't want nobody selling anything in my territory without it coming through me. So this conversation is about merging the two top Colombian candy people, right? So Fabio sits her down and they cheers. At this point, they have this agreement where, okay, I'm going to come through you. We're going to do business together. Okay, next thing you know, they ended up taking my boy life right in front of her face. So they pop him and he slumped over to the side. Raffo tells her, because you were so hard-headed and a hot head and you wouldn't listen to nobody, we're going to take your life because it costs to be the boss. So because you wanted to be the boss so bad, it cost you your homeboy's life. It cost you your two concubines' life. They was beheaded. Even Rigo. Everybody has been a cost because you wanted to be a boss, and this one comes with the territory. So I'm going to take out one of your closest colleagues, which is your accountant. So now she's going to have to find someone to do what he do and do it in a smart way. They have a business agreement. Now, it was basically a forewarning. You came at us wrong. You stole our products. You burnt it. Now, shall we continue with this business transaction or not? So she basically has agreed with a very regretful look in her eye. She just lost one of her closest concubines. But that's when you step your boundaries, G. You was just supposed to get your territory, but you started getting extra stuff. So now one of your closest friends are now gone. So rest in peace to you, Arturo. You know, you gave some good advice to her. She didn't want to listen sometimes. Sometimes it worked out for the good, but you was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm glad Drill wasn't with you because that would have really been bad. So this is episode 4. We got 2 more episodes to this 6-part series. Thank you for watching, keeping up with this episode of the series. This is About Damn Time. Peace.